Okay, let's take some notes about circles. So a circle is a set of points in a plane that are all the same distance from a given point called the center. You name a circle by its center. So for example, if I called this point A, okay, if I were to take a ruler, obviously not this because I just kind of plopped it in there, but if this was the actual center, and we were to measure from the center to the circle, it would be the exact same distance every single time. If you have ever used a compass where you plop it down and then you put your pencil in it and you spin it around, the center, right, all the points that you're drawing, an infinite number of little points, all the same distance from the center. So this is the circle. Okay, a million little points that are all the exact same distance away from the center. So we would call that circle A. Okay, so let's talk about a radius. A radius is a segment that connects the center of a circle to the circle. So again, if this is circle A, and let's just say that we have point B on our circle, this segment AB, would be the radius. It's going from the center to the circle. Okay, now we have A, B, and let's just say that this is C. A diameter is a segment that passes through the center of the circle and has both endpoints on the circle, like this. So segment CB would be a diameter. It starts on the circle, goes through the center, and has its endpoint on the circle. Has its other endpoint on the circle. So let's do it again. There's A, there's B. Let's call this right there D. A central angle is an angle with its vertex at the center of the circle. So like this, angle DAB, or we could even call it angle BAD, would be a central angle because it has, sorry, I got confused. It has its vertex at the center of the circle. And then a chord is a segment that has both endpoints on the circle. So let's just say that this is E and this is F. That's a chord. Segment EF, it has both of its endpoints on the circle. It doesn't have to go through the center, but it can. A diameter is also a chord, right? If the definition of a chord, the requirements, is that it has both its endpoints on the circle, a diameter is a chord. It's actually the longest chord, right? It doesn't get any longer than this. Okay, so let's look down here. There we go. At this example right here. Okay, it asks you to name all the radii. So radii are going from the center, okay, and this is just a little bit off. This G should be up here, to the circle. So radii could be GE, GH, it could be BG, or CG, right? And it doesn't matter if you had called this GC, it's the same thing, but the radii are going from the center to the circle. Okay, it asks you to name two central angles. So I like to kind of pick them before I write the letters. I'm going to name this one and this one. So I'm going to say angle BGC and angle EGH. And again, it doesn't matter. I could have said angle EGC, I could have said HGB, any of those would have been fine. Okay, now you're asked to name the diameter. So the diameter, remember, has its endpoints on the circle and it cuts through the center of the circle. There's only one diameter in this circle, and it's CH. It starts on C, goes through the center, and it lands on H, right? A lot of times people are like, well, what about HGE? Well, that's not a continuous line, right? That's an angle. So it has to be a straight line. And then we're going to name the chords. The chords, as long as they have their endpoints on the circle, that makes a chord. So BC, CE, segment EH, segment BH, and segment CH are all chords. They have both their endpoints on the circle. So now we're going to talk about arcs. And an arc is part of a circle. So for example, if I were to start on M and go to point K, that would be an arc. Okay, so I'm going to call this MK, and I put this arc symbol on top. Another example, oh gosh, my little dots got off. Ooh, that's a P, would be like HP. HP is an arc. Or KP. Okay, an arc is just a part of a circle. And then a semicircle or semicircle is an arc that is half of the circumference of a circle. And we're going to use 3 letters to name a semicircle. So for example, if I started here on K, I went through point M and on to H, that is a semicircle. And it's important that we use 3 letters, because if I just called it arc KH, you don't know, well, are you talking about this part or are you starting and going this way, right? So KPH would be that arc.